Hello everyone, Rolando here from Bojin Gamer. Oh, there's the Bojin Gamer. She's working on a project. So we're gonna go ahead and continue our game of Modern Microarmor by GHQ using my OT4 module. And as you can see, the cats are also in a warfighting mood, I guess, right now. And a couple swings at each other there. Sorry, I just have to get everything set up still. Not on here, but like on my phone and everything. But anyway, so we are going to be again the war game that we are running. The tabletop war game is Modern Microarmor, the game from GHQ. This is the rule set that we've been using. Again, I like this rule set because I think it's fairly flexible. It allows for armor, infantry, light armor, aircraft, helicopter, like a lot of different things, and a lot of kind of like extra rules that you can add in and kind of change. And so I find that for me this is a really good starting point because there's nothing extra. There's no cards, there's no decks, there's nothing like extra on it. No charts or anything. Everything's in the book already, as you guys saw last time. And the rules are fairly straightforward, and then they just give you a bunch of data tables in here. So yeah, again, you can pick this up at GHQ, who sell miniatures. Again, this is the catalog you get from them. It's got all sorts of great stuff in it. Let me just pull some out to show you guys, although, again, most of it is still just lists of things that you can get. But they've got a lot of great stuff for terrain, models, everything that you can think of. Like, they got a lot of cool stuff. Even some painting, some terrain painting, accessories and everything. So, yeah, they got some great stuff going on. They started off with World War II, and Modern is kind of their update of the game. And so that's what we're running. And for those who do not know, I am running this on my own personal module called, oh, excuse the, the background, the Magical Kitty Save the Day. It's another board game that I've been curious to try. This is my module, my book, soon to be published. Amazon's having a few issues on their end, but very quickly it'll be available for purchase on paperback, and then after that on Kindle. But yeah, so again, it sets up near peer scenarios in the fabled sands of Donovia, which Atropia continually claims is theirs. And yeah, it gives you maps, it gives you 3D imagery, courtesy of Military Map, map.army, if you want to look that up. Really great tool. But yeah, it gives you everything that you need for that, and just everything in between. So again, that'll be available soon, and we are running the first module, changed up a little bit because again, this was more used as a tutorial, of the Siberian Ridgeline. So again, some nice undulating north-south terrain here, and a very famous first fight during during rotations. My goodness, the cats are getting crazy. Anyways, so you can watch them if this gets boring. Anyways, just to show you, because I didn't show you last time, these are what the miniatures look like. Again, I've showed them off a few times. I have a full platoon of each of them. Again, you've got going from, I guess, this side first. You got your M1 Abrams, then your Bradley, then your BMP, and then a T90. Your BMP2 and a T90. Kind of hard to see in good detail. But yeah, some great stuff. Again, I would be doing this on an actual mat or a piece of terrain, except that, again, this requires a fairly large playing table. And again, because I want to have some guests play it with me later on, I just decided to get it on Roll20. So, without much further ado, because, let me just make sure this is all set up. Yes, it is. Without much further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started on this, because I explained how the game starts and everything in the previous video, which is available both on Twitch right now and then also on YouTube, so that after the 14 days it's still up archived. So you can just go ahead and look up Bojin Game on YouTube and you'll find the archive there, and this way you can watch older videos. So, me just make sure this is all good. Yeah. So, we're going to go ahead and pick up. We were at the end of turn 6. We just finished turn 6. We can go ahead and look back at our map here. We had lost... Oh, let me switch this for you so you can see it a little better. We had just started our main engagements here. So as you can see, what we've got going on, we've got the Atropians up here in the north right here. We've got the Donovians beginning to turn their defense, their hasty defense on the right here. As a quick recap, White 1 from the Donovian side and a BMP2 saw Red 2, the lead tank element of the Atropians coming around this bend, tried to opportunity fire, messed up, as lieutenants usually do, and then got destroyed for it. So, you know, that's fairly realistic, I think. And then, following that, on the Atropian side, we had Red 1 and Red 3 attempt to kind of maneuver north around the tank to try to get into a better position. And they were taken out by White 2 and White 3, I believe, respectively. So, we've got that going on. The Atropians, having made contact, called in their pre-planned fires, which, due to the high-level technology of, you know, paladins, did not deviate on its fire mission, and so hitting this linear target right here. But, you know, nothing there. And I believe this is the end of that turn, so it should be over. But we'll get to that. So, let's go ahead and get back to our tracker here. Beautiful spreadsheets. Everybody loves spreadsheets. This is a little crooked. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. You can see the cats from there. So, you can also see the Donovian flag right there. So, we're going to go ahead and we are at the beginning of turn 7 now. So this is a little tracker that I made myself, just to kind of keep track of the game, because there's a lot of stuff, and you know, just like in Dungeons and Dragons, which is my preferred D20 style role-playing game. I've got all my books right here, and hint, hint, wink, wink, that might be my next writing project that I'm working on. Something that might have to use the open game license, so that's fun. I started writing that. But I've also got some more ideas for modules for Microarmor, including, I was thinking, one based off of this wonderful little gem that I read when I was back in the army. The Bear Went Over the Mountain, about Soviet tactics in Afghanistan. So I thought, you know, that might make a cool module too. Let me know what type of modules you guys would like to see, because the tabletop gaming is taking off right now. People, especially with D&D, kind of leading the way with folks like Critical Role, like making it very palatable and people realizing it's a lot of fun. Wargaming is still a little bit more on the technical side of that, but I think it's all overall board games are beginning to open up. So I think this is a great opportunity for me as a veteran to kind of share some of the scenarios and ideas that we have when we're training, or just the things that we joke around about. And again, coming from the 11th ACR, again, my whole module, even though it's based on Blackhorse and Donovian Atropia, it's very much the romanticized version that we, the troopers, had, and not really what's in the date manual by the DoD, like the decisive action training environment. Anyways, let's get to it. So, we're at the top of turn 7. Let's see here. Donovia, well, White 1's dead, so let's just go ahead and just mark him off here. We'll just make it red for right now, because we don't need to track his ATGM rounds, because he's dead. They are burning off, cooking off right now. Let's see, Atropia, the same thing. He's got, who do we have dead on that side? We've got Red 1 and Red 3. And again, these models that you see are actually my models that I painted right here, because, you know, I could pull these off of anywhere on the internet, but I decided to, you know, I wanted to bring my miniatures in still, because I painted them and spent a lot of time on them. So those are what you're looking at here. Also, I saw some really cool pictures of people adding antennas onto them, so I gotta figure out how to do that. Anyway, so Red 1 and Red 3 are dead, so let's mark them off. Red 3's dead, didn't get any ATGM rounds off. Red Red 1 is dead. Other platoon leader's dead. Okay, so now we know where we're at. This fire mission is complete. So, yep. Impact turn. It's already. Oh no, I guess we're on turn 6. That was the end of turn 5. Okay, let me fix this then. Okay. So, let's go ahead and get into this. So, we had just finished removing the markers, and again, we're going to go through these rules again, so that this way everyone watching this, because I found there are no tutorials on this game online, which was very hard, so I had to read the book a lot and try to figure it out. So again, if anyone plays this more than me, and sees where I'm fudging a rule or messing around with the rule, one, I'm kind of playing tank for tank as opposed to each tank representing a platoon, so I'm kind of bending the rules in terms of how movement orders and everything go. But then at the same time, if you see anything that like I'm really misunderstanding, like something core to the game, please let me know, so that, because I've not found really anybody in person that plays this game. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and go on to the next phase. The next phase. So after marker removal phase, we removed our markers. So that is when the pieces on the board are allowed to try to remove things like their disorganized or suppressed status. And they have to, again, roll cohesion, which is a wonderful d20 roll for visual aid, because, again, I have my dice right here. So it is a wonderful d20 roll that as long as they can roll lower or equal to their cohesion, which is their ability to work together as an effective fighting force, as a professional fighting force, as long as they can roll lower than that, they can kind of regain their composure and shake off suppression or being disorganized. So both of them, or all of the pieces did that, including Red 2, which had been hit like twice, which I actually thought was very curious that like he managed to survive, so good on him. So let's go ahead and also remove these fire and movement markers too, because they are done now. They're done. Firing and moving. Okay. So now we get to deal with, because we lost our platoon. Oh, and also, the last thing, now the artillery stops, because the artillery lasts the entire turn. Once it fires in I guess, sequence 2 of the play sequence of each turn, which there are 8 play sequences. Once it fires, it lasts the entire round, and each round is supposed to be 3 minutes. So, an usual game is supposed to be 20 rounds, 60 minutes of like a battle. So, let's remove this marker. So, this artillery is now over, so we can go ahead and delete that. That is done. The fire mission has been completed. And we've removed all of our markers, and we're ready to go now. So posture, sequence of play 1 is posturing and determination. We already have their initiative. Now, this is something curious. Again, this is something I'm curious if someone would be kind enough to let me know. If you have to roll initiative multiple times throughout a game, because I have rolled it a single time at the very beginning to determine who goes first. Because in this game, whoever has the initiative can allow the enemy or allow the opponent to go first if they want, which I think creates a pretty balanced like if you want them to go first, so you're not always just last each time. You can end up being last each time, but then also during firing and movement, you take turns moving. So I'm not too concerned about if I only rolled it once, as opposed to if it is in the sequence of play that each round you roll initiative again to see who goes first. But it might be that way. But for right now, we are assuming that we rolled initiative the first time in round 1, and we're sticking to that initiative order because it's a single game that we're going through. So we already know who's going first. I believe. Well, let's see here. I have it written down here because I don't quite remember. So cohesion. Let's see here. I think I wrote the initiative 26 for Donovia, 28 for Atropia. So Atropia has the initiative because I wrote it right here. That's what those trackers are for. Because in D&D, you're usually writing things on a piece of paper or notes. This game also, you should be writing things down for notes. Okay, so Atropia is going first. So, joint artillery phase. At this point, any fire missions called previously in the round or multiple rounds past, depending on the technology level and penalties for the artillery, for delays, would now fire, but because nothing has been called and that pre-planned fire is complete, the fire mission's complete, we're skipping over that. Donovia at this time, if we wanted to, we could call for fire on this area here. But they don't really have any means to. Again, this is kind of weird because I'm playing the Game Master and the referee and both sides. So I need to be careful not to metagame because I need to try to... Because I could very easily be like, oh, well, they're not going to fire this because there's nothing there. But I'm going to try to justify it as if I was the other player. They have not seen anything enter here. Without metagame, they have not seen anything or engaged anything in this valley. As far as they know, everything is engaging from the north, away from their fire missions. They're not going to call it. They could try to call a fire mission on this area. Actually, that might be an interesting thing to do. Let's do that. Let's do that, actually. So, let's see here. Okay. We're going to say for the sake of this, okay, so Tropio goes first. Red 2 is engaged right now. He's not calling fire missions. He's being shot at. He's not calling fire missions. Red 4... you know what? For the sake of this, we're not going to call fire missions. We're just going to go with the pre-planned fires. Okay, so... trying to think, because I want to make this interesting, but at the same time, it's hard because I'm metagaming, because I'm playing all sides. So I'm trying to... well, let's roll something. Let's roll something. How about this? Let's roll a D100, and we'll say... yeah, we'll give him a 50-50 shot, basically. That, anything lower than 50%, he'll continue engaging, as if he's too focused in the battle. And anything that is higher than 50, he will go ahead and try to call a fire mission. Let's see. Oh, where'd my D100 go? 61. Okay. Yeah, 61. Okay, so he's going to try to call a fire mission. Okay, so he's going to try to call a fire mission. Again, this is going to be interesting. Because, again, metagaming. He's going to go ahead and try to call it in the center mass here. So he's going to call... actually, no. No, actually, I just realized. He does not have line of sight on any of this, so he cannot call a fire mission. So, we're not going to do that. He doesn't have line of sight, so he can't call a fire mission anyways. So, with previous generations, again, the technology level and the generations of the armies, when you're first picking your teams, determine this. For lower generation armies, you have to have a forward observer watching the target, and then whoever's calling in the fire mission. They can be two separate entities, but you need to have at least a forward observer watching the target and watching splash. With higher level, because everybody more or less has the ability to call a fire mission over the radio, and kind of track it, you just have to, it just has to be the unit that's observing, but it doesn't have to be a specified forward observer. It can be anybody calling it. However, as I said, and I just realized, let's get my measuring tool. He does not have, oh, it's snapping, hold on, no snapping. He does not have line of sight on any of these guys, because he's stuck here. So he can see all of this, and then it shrinks here because of this landmass. So he can't actually call a fire mission. Red 2 could, but again, I'm going to rule that he's being engaged right now, and he just took 2 rounds to the hull. He's not calling a fire mission. He's fighting right now, so no fire mission. Okay, Donovia's turn. White 2 has visual, but White 2 is engaged. He's not going to call a fire mission. White 3 is engaged. He just killed this guy. They're not calling fire mission. They're in the middle of the fight. However, White 4, way back here, has not been fired upon and has not fired yet. And he does... oh, it's trying to move my icon. He does have observation on this area, and he's seen 2 enemy vehicles and seen them get destroyed. He sees one right here, and so he's going to call a fire mission. So he's going to call a linear fire mission. So let's see here. Usually with this, the player would send it directly to the game master, so that this way the other person doesn't know and you wouldn't necessarily place it on the board right now. But for the sake of, again, because you guys are watching, I'm going to show you. And also, I just realized it's real quiet, and we do have background music for this. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. Because it's not YouTube safe. Okay, well, you know what? I don't really care for YouTube much anyways, because I'm not trying to make money off of them. So we can just go ahead and play this album right here. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so now that we've got that going, let's go ahead and keep going. Okay, so White 4 is going to call a fire mission. He's going to call a linear fire mission. I'm going to say, let's see here. He saw 2 enemies here. He knows there's one here, so he's going to call it right in the middle here. He doesn't know Red 4 is here. He's going to call it just kind of in the middle here. And you know what? He's going to call for a point to target a sheaf of kind of these triangles right here. So actually, let's see if we can just copy paste this. That'll be a little easier for us. Let's see here. Copy. Paste. Oh, it just copied 2. Cool. Oh no, it didn't. There we go. Cool. There we go. Okay. So he's going to call it right in the center here. He's going to call it right here. He's going to call it right here. So that is his fire mission. We're going to call that. And again, for the sake of tracking all of this. Aye, baby, что? What are you meowing about? Boy, these guys have been obsessed with their latest toy and just all day have been meowing. It's been a bit much, huh, buddy? Non-stop, mama trying to work, me trying to write, and these guys are just whining the whole day. I played for like 2 hours straight, and he was still meowing. Okay, so for the GM map, Donovia is calling another fire mission, so we're going to name this fire mission D002. D002, and then we're going to say impact from turn, 1 from call. So as far as it is right now, no forward observing unit. Firing unit is still the 2S19 off map. He's going to call AP. Another diamond sheaf. C map for target. Again, for right now, we're doing C map. Again, here is where I would ask, like, give me a general grid location or location so this way I can call it. And this way the other person doesn't see it. But, you know, it is what it is. So, pre-planned? No, it is not a pre-planned target. It is a point target right now. So, okay, so that is what we did. So he called this fire mission, and this one is going to be, okay, D0002, fire mission D0002. Okay, so for calling fire, let's see here. So, indirect fire procedure. 1, reveal your written indirect fire missions. Mission information must be unambiguous, which I think it is. It's three squares right here, each one a point target because there's 3 guns. AP, diamond sheaf, like, I think we've covered that. It's unambiguous. He wants to hit in the center of that. Okay. Oh, that is for actually firing it. For the sake of placing the fire, I don't think there's much more than just revealing it, but let's check in the rules just to make sure. 7.9 to 7.14, 7.9. Okay, let's see here. Facing an artillery fire. Let's see here. KKK, cool. Occupies okay. These are all about the damage and passing through. Okay. Indirect artillery fire. Yep, they don't have a forward observer because they're above that particular... Again, In Generation 1 and Generation 2, forces stands designated as FOs must be used indirect. In later generations, actual FOs are not necessary. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, yep, so that's all we have to do. We start rolling dice once it's time for it to fire. So, in that case, what turn are we on right now? We are on turn 6. It will arrive, because of the generation of the 2S19, it will arrive one turn. So it will arrive on turn 7. Turn 7. So, I also did this. So, in the book version of this, in Blackhorses, I also provided the opportunity, as you can see here, in the information about composition and fires, I say whether or not they have, what priority of fires they have. So, in this is intended for, essentially, you just add a turn, or you add a penalty, depending on what game system you're using, because other games do indirect fire differently. Basically, it's just to help give you another idea of how you can complicate the indirect fire, the artillery missions. So, if these were secondary or tertiary priorities of fire, I would add that many extra turns to it. So, if he's primary, it's just there's no penalty. It's just the one turn later. If it's secondary, 2 turns later. If it's tertiary, 3 turns later. Because again, you're not the most important mission if you're tertiary, so the artillery can wait. But here they have priority of fire, and GHQ provides its own rules regarding generation tech, and different generations of artillery will have penalties on them. For lower generations, it'll be, hold on one second. For lower generations, it will be more turns added, so it's slower to fire and slower to react to you. So, because these are a high enough generation, they're fine. There's no penalty for that. The 2S19 and the Paladin are both more than modern enough to not have these penalties. Okay, so he called for fire. We're good to go. Okay, so next sequence. Sequence 3. Okay, first standard fire phase. Tech level 4 and tech level 5 stands fire. So, that is, the Abrams and the T90s are tech level 4, so they are allowed to fire. We don't have any tech level 5s. And the BMP is a tech level 3. The BMP2 is a tech level 3, so he does not get to fire this turn. He only gets to fire once per turn. So, let's go ahead and observe that. So, let's see here. So, Red 2 has the initiative. So, Red 2 is going to pick which tank to fire. He's going to fire at the closest tank to him. Because that makes sense. He's going to fire at this tank right here, at White 2. Because it is less than 300 meters away from him, staring at him in the face. So, he's going to go ahead and fire. So, the first thing we need to do is roll a cohesion roll to see if he hits. So, he's going to fire, and we're going to see if he hits or not. And again, there are things that we add on to this, so let's see. So, let's roll our d20. A 4, okay, very good. Because remember, it has to be lower than the cohesion. So, okay, so, standard fire procedure. For each attack, designate the target stand. I already said he's firing at White 2. Designate attacking stand. We already did that. It's Red 2. Okay, for each firing stand, roll cohesion modified for S and D effects for suppression and disorganized effects. Again, all of them successfully shook it off, so all of them are okay right now. So none of them have these penalties right now. Okay, now we do penalties for Atgms or for range. This is very close, so let's see if there's a penalty for range. It is not. Yeah, no, it is over, it's still over 2 inches, so there is no penalty. So it's over 200 meters. So there's no penalty for this, so that's good for him. It's not an ATGM, so there's no penalties there. It's a straight round and a straight armor-piercing round, Sabo. And terrain, again, doesn't matter what terrain you're firing out of, it just, you get penalties based on whatever terrain you're firing into, how hard it is to hit the target. And as I said before, all of this wide open area I'm considering rough terrain, one, because it is not roads or streets or open fields, it's rolling sandy plains and gently undulating wadis, so I'll count it as rough terrain 1. So there's no movement penalty, but for firing there is a +1 to your dice roll. All of these wadis that you can come up through and the trails that pass through are rough terrain 2, so there is a +2 penalty to all of those. And then if you attempt to go over these hills or over in between the wadis, that terrain in between, so the spurs of between the spurs and draws, the actual spurs that are going out from the hill mass, that is rough terrain 3, because that is steep and rocky going either way. And trust me, in real life, you do not want to do that stuff, because that is where you start clenching and you're really getting yourself ready to kind of pop yourself down and grab your gunner and drag him down too, because if he's popped up, because ooh man, it is very nerve-wracking going down that, and I saw way too many flipped vehicles at Irwin, so that's why that's rough terrain 3. So anyways, this is rough terrain 1, because that's where I said it is. So rough terrain 1, you have your nice little sheets here. Rough terrain 1 is a +1 for armor firing into it. So, and line of sight is not blocked because it's not that rough of terrain. So, +1, so we rolled a 4. There is no penalty on distance or suppression or disorganization, but there is a penalty for firing into rough terrain, so that is a 5. 5 is below the cohesion level of the Atropians. As we remember, the Atropian cohesion for this round, actually, once they rolled everything, is 18. So Atropia has to roll 18 or below on all their cohesion checks for them to pass, and Donovia, 17 or below. Which, those are both pretty good cohesion rolls, so that's solid right there. So both of these are they're well-organized fighting forces with lots of morale, and they're ready to fight. So, that hits. That 4, 5 is under 17, or under 18, so that hits. So, now we get to roll damage. Again, in this game, it automatically assumes that you selected the correct ammunition for the target. You can always make it more complicated if you want, but base rules are that if you're firing at an armored vehicle, you're firing armor-piercing rounds. If you're firing at light-skinned or vehicle or unarmored vehicles or personnel, you're firing an HE. Okay, let's go ahead and select the firepower value. So, our Abrams here has a firepower value. Again, I added these as quick references, but the full information is here in these sheets right here. So, the Abrams has an armor penetrating rating of 25. So, the defense of the T90 is a 20. So that is a 5 difference. So this is actually pretty, it's not like the Bradleys versus tanks or the BMPs versus tanks. This is actually, there's some fair armor resistance going on here. It's actually resisting the armor pretty well. So, so let's see here. So that is a difference of 5. Okay. And we also have to modify it for facing, or if it was personnel movement. It is facing the correct way, so there is no penalty on his armor. He is facing in this frontal arc. He's going to hit the front glacis plate or the front of the turret. He's not going to hit the side armor or the back. Which those, if it's the side or the back, a direct line of sight to the side or back, your defense rating gets cut in half, so it's extremely vulnerable. But here, this is 2 tanks facing each other directly almost, so it's going to be the full defense rating. So, subtract modified defense from firepower to obtain combat differential. We already did that. It is a 5. Then we roll our 2 d6s for the other half of our guide here. Whoa. 10. Okay. So 10, and then you add again range effects, if they're there. We don't. And we add terrain effects, which there is one because it's still rough terrain 1. So 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 1 for firing into rough terrain is 11. So we have 11 going up the vertical axis of this for the dice roll. So 11. And then for the combat differential, we said it was what? 5, 25, and 20, correct? Yes, 25 and 20, yes. So 5. So we go 11 and a plus 5. Oh, wow, okay. So white 2, well, let's go ahead and do this. Red 3 here has fired. And white 2 is now disorganized, which we're going to be doing a black little square there for. So he is disorganized. So that is a higher level of suppression. That is so, like, you're so thrown off because you just, I mean, they just got hit by a main gun round at 300 meters. Yeah, they're disorganized, but they're lucky they're not dead. So, yeah, so that vehicle is not destroyed, and we placed our markers. So now we alternate turns firing. So, who do I want to fire next? Let's see here. So now it is Donovia's turn to return fire. White 2 could very easily return fire, but he just got hit pretty badly. So we're going to say White 3 is going to fire instead. So I'm going to have White 3 fire because, again, I'm a little metagaming. I don't know. I think this would be a reasonable thing for the other player to determine because it is his turn to pick who fires, and I think he can say, I'm going to have this other tank that has not been disorganized fire because both of them are line of sight and within range. So White 3 is going to fire at Red 2. So we've designated 750 meters. Okay. Well within range. No issue there. So let's roll our d20 and see if he hits. Oh boy. Let's see if he hits, buddy. Oh, you can't even hear the Russian music he's dancing to. Oh, 1. Wow. That is a great roll. So, again, you have to roll for cohesions. They have to roll lower than their cohesion. Lower or equal to. Denovia's cohesion was 17. A 1 is literally the lowest you can go. So, no matter what penalties we're adding, he's not disorganized, he's not suppressed, it's not an ATGM. As far as range goes, let me see, 750 meters. It is a +1 on the range. Yeah, it is a +1 on the range. So that's 2. And then into rough terrain, +1, that's 3. So it's 3 total. That's well with underneath 18. So it hits. So let's roll for damage now. So we're going to see here our differences. Again, so our armor penetrator is 23. The Abrams defense is 20. So it's a differential of 3, okay? So now let's roll our 2d6 to determine the other half of our damage matrix. 8, okay? 8 plus, again, we add any bonuses or penalties for firing into terrain, so that's 9. And then range, another one, so 10. So 10 and 3. 10 plus 3. So he is suppressed. The Abrams is suppressed, but yes, he is. So he's extra suppressed. So he's suppressed. It's got a weird in between suppressed and disorganized where it's like suppressed in parentheses, and essentially it's like it's kind of a let me see here. It's kind of, let me see, I'm trying to explain it. Well, let me just read the rules to you for this one. It's kind of weird, but I guess it makes sense in between. It's kind of to show that there's like, it's not just that you're suppressed, but like you are on the verge of being disorganized. So you have, let's see here, suppressed, effectiveness temporarily reduced, if tech level 1 or 2, or the target is any type of aircraft, treat it as no effect. Oh, wow. Okay, suppressed, like with the parentheses, as S above, if already suppressed, convert to an S. Convert the S to a D instead. So essentially it basically allows that if a target's already suppressed, if you hit it again, you can destroy it. Even if it's like not that high of a roll, because it's already been hit once. So it's kind of that in-between, so this way, if you hit a tank twice in a row, and neither of them are full kill shots, they kind of add up to it, because you hit them twice in a row. So, he is suppressed now, but he's not dead. Okay. So, he is suppressed, so yellow is what we're doing for suppressed. Okay. He is now suppressed. They, again, recommend beads for this. I'm using the little icons here. So, he is suppressed here. So, okay, white 3 fired. Good hit. Like, I mean, this guy's effed up. And also in a really bad situation, actually. Because, again, right now is our first firing exchange in the sequence of play for turn 6, which is for tech level 4s and 5s. The BMP is a tech level 3, so it does not get to fire this turn. The Abrams, the T-90, and the Bradleys are tech level 4s, but Red 4 is still back here, and Red 4 does not have line of sight on anything that's actually firing right now. So, he does not get to fire because he cannot see, which means White 3, our disorganized tank, gets to fire now because he is in line of sight. However, he is disorganized, so he does have penalty on cohesion rolls. The penalties, I believe... See, and this is what I don't get on this, is it tells you about cohesion. That disorganized is only a +3, whereas suppressed is a +4, which for me seems like it would be the other way around. Oh, I guess because he's less. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, good job, research. Oh, good job. Oh, good.
Okay, yeah. So let's go ahead and just add it. So white 2 is going to fire on red 2. So he's going to roll his d20. However, he is disorganized, so it is a +3 to his rolls right now. So d20, that's a 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Firing into rough terrain. So +4, that's 10. Range-wise, there is no penalty on range because it's 250 meters. And then, on top of that, it is not an ATGM, so it's +4. So 6 + 4 is 10. It is underneath 18. So it does hit. And I think this Abrams is in a lot of trouble because he just got hit twice. And he's already been hit before last turn. So this Abrams is taking quite a beating. So let's see here. It's a hit, so D20 defense, 23 armor penetrator, so a differential of 3. Then let's roll our 2d6s for our other half of the equation. 7, firing into terrain. Yeah, firing into terrain. Let me just make sure. Yep. So, firing into rough terrain, so +1. It is not an ATGM, and it's not in or out of range. It's or not out of range or over a long distance, so no penalty. So it is a +1 onto that. So 7, 8. So an 8 on the vertical axis, and a +3 across the horizontal. So 8 plus 3 is a D. It is a disorganized. So this is what that's for. So this is not an eliminating round. It is not a lethal round by itself. However, since he is already suppressed, so if he gets disorganized, +3 to this stand for all of its cohesion rolls. If already D, treat as E, which is not D, so it is suppressed. So he's still not dead, actually. Oh, man. But he's very, very suppressed. So I'm going to say, because he's already suppressed and he just got hit by a disorganizing round, we're going to Oh, you're kussing my book.
You don't pay attention to me, Papa.
Let's see. If already S, treat as D result. Otherwise, treat as S. If already D, treat as E. So, he's already suppressed, but he got hit by by a D round. So I'm trying to figure this out. Yeah, we're going to say he's... Yeah, so we're going to actually move him to disorganize. So, he's not actually dead yet. So, surprisingly, he's not dead yet. He is just disorganized. He has taken, like, 3 rounds and a missed ATGM. This Abrams is... Being an Abrams, he's living up to it. Like, he's taken all these hits, man. Okay, but that's White 2 has fired now. Okay. So, now that we've concluded our first firing sequence, so now we go to second standard firing phase. So now all qualified firers can fire. So again, going with Atropia with the first roll, he's going to, let's see here, who's he going to try to hit? I'm going to say he's going to shoot at the same tank again. He's going to shoot at White 2 again because he's already oriented, he's already been hit, that gunner and loader throwing in rounds and trying to reorient themselves. The gunner's looking through that sight and he's probably bleeding and it's probably smoking on the inside, and smoke inside that turret is not fun. It really hurts your throat. Who's... Oh, biting my book. So, he's going to roll his d20 and he's going to get penalties. So, but, wow, what a roll. A 1. So let's add the penalties anyways, but regardless, it's going to hit. So, a 1, he's disorganized, so already +3, so that's 4. He's firing into rough terrain. 5, distance is not an issue. So, wow. Yeah. And there's no terrain. Yeah, so it's +5 onto that. So, right? Yeah. No, 3, 4. Just 4. So +4 onto the 1. So a total of 5. 5 is, as you can see, it adds a lot to it. So if this was like a 16 or something, that would have pushed him over the limit. Even a 15, like this, it's a serious handicap. But having rolled such a great roll like a 1,
Papa,
it hits. There's no room for you on the table, Kut. So, he's going to fire at White 2. It hits. So, White 2 gets... Oh, man. White 2 is going to take a lot of damage. So, again, the differential is 5 between the armor penetrator, 25, and the defense here, 20. Let's roll our 2d6s. 9, okay. +1 for in rough terrain. And no range effects. So, just +1. So, 10. So, 10 and 5. So, let's go ahead and look at our chart. Up 10, across 5. So, interesting. So, it's a suppressed in parentheses. Okay, so actually, this is where things get a little tricky, you know? I think it just moves up 1, basically. It gives you a tier system. So I think I made the right call on moving the Abrams from suppressed to disorganized, but not destroying him. But, this is not a lethal round by itself. However, the T-90 is already disorganized. So, this suppressed... This is a D, I believe I said, yeah? No. Yeah, it's just over D. It's 10 and 5, so it's D. So it's disorganized, but he's already disorganized. So, if already D, treat as E. So treat as eliminated. So this round finally did our T-90 in. So White 2 went down in a blaze of glory, mind you. Like, that was impressive. Like, he went down in a blaze of glory there. He took a lot of rounds to the face. So, White 2 is now eliminated. Oh. Cat wants attention. Oh, of course he does. Of course he does. So, now we get the other alternating fire. So now, White Yes.
Papa, please take it 1 minute break. It's fishky time.
Oh, is it time for their fishki?
Yeah.
It is. Okay. So,
It's
I'm going
fishky
to take
time.
a quick break to give the cats, because he's beginning to eat my miniatures. He wants his midnight snack. So, give us 1 second. We'll be right back while I'm doing this. Ah, stop eating my miniatures.
It's already served.
Look at it. I'm going to show you. So, the camera's coming off. You can see the wife working on her stuff. And you can see the cat trying to eat my miniature. Stop eating the miniatures. Oh, God. Leave the miniatures alone. Alright, everybody. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So let's go ahead and continue where we left. The cats are fed, and they're eating, and trash is thrown away that needed to be thrown away. So let's get back to it. So white 3 is now firing, so he may fire again. So white 3 is going to fire at red 2 again. So let's see. I already know he has line of sight, so let's roll our d20 to see if he hits. 12, okay. So, 12, he is neither suppressed nor disorganized, so there's no penalty on that. He is firing into rough terrain 1, so that's plus 1, 13. Range-wise, I think we said last time, too, there was a penalty. Yeah, because he's 740 meters away. So, plus 2, that's 14. And then, it is not an ATGM, so nothing else. So 14 is under the cohesion roll of 18 for a trope or for Donovia. So it hits. So let's roll our... Well, let's check. So again, the defense is 20. Armor penetrator 23, so a combat differential of 3. So now we're going to roll our 2d6s for the other half of the chart. 7, okay. Again, then you add your environment, so plus 1, so 8, and then range modifiers as well, so 9. So that's 7 plus 2 is 9. Let me just make sure, because yes. Yep, all for applicable terrain and range effects on a terrain effect chart. Okay, yep. So that's 7 plus 2, so 9, and a differential of 3. So up 9 to the side plus 3 is a suppressed S. However, he's already disorganized. Yeah, if already S, treat as a D. So we're going to treat it as a D because he's already disorganized. So if already D, treat as an E. So after 4 hits on this Abrams, red 2 is down finally. So red 2 is down. That Abrams took a ton of rounds to the face. It's kind of crazy. Oh, we don't need that many. Not yet. So that Abrams took so many rounds. It's crazy. So, as you can see, this is really turned like there's a lot of dead tanks on the battlefield right now. And red 2 we can remove all these markers. He's not fired or disorganized anymore because he is dead. Yeah. Wow. That's something. So, now we're going to go ahead and continue. So, red 4 still can't shoot because he can't see anything. And white 3 and white 4 white 4 still has the opportunity to fire as well, but he does not see anything either. As you can see, just to show, he cannot see past here, past this line. He can see fairly far out here, but he can't really, everything's dead there. He's kind of like stopped here, and then it shoots out, and then it shortens back up along this ridgeline right here. So, red 4 lives to fight another day right now. So, everyone has fired that needed to fire. So now we move on to the next sequence of play. So that was sequence 4, standard fire phase. Now we're going to go 5, joint plot phase. Oh, whoops. This is when we should have plotted fires, not before. I guess that's when it's supposed to actually fire the missions. I always get that mixed up. So, when we plotted the mission, this fire mission right here, D002, that shouldn't have happened. We should have fired any actual missions, like actually started the impact of rounds from previous turns. But there was nothing there, so nothing happened. Now, during phase 5, that is when you do the joint plot phase. There's nothing to joint plot here, so because we already plotted our second fire mission here. Let me do this. Our other fire mission right here, and that again is fire mission on Donovia side D002, and it's going to impact on turn 7. And right now we're still in turn 6, so it's not going to impact yet. So, since red 4 still does not have any actual observation on the targets, even though he's not a specified forward observer, he does not have line of sight on any of these active targets, so he can't call a fire mission. And this is more, because you really, even in real life, you're not supposed to call a fire mission if you don't have observation on it, so that you can observe what's actually happened, what type of damage. Oh, excuse me, my throat's getting dry. Darling, could you get me some water, please? Yeah, my throat's getting real dry. So, he's not going to plot anything. Okay, so now we go to
Water?
phase 6. Yes, please.
Over here.
Water, please. Phase 6. So, sequence 6, movement phase. So, this is interesting, because in the last turn, we lost both of our lieutenants. We lost our headquarters elements. Neither of them have that. So now, neither of them get actual movement orders until they can rally and someone can take command. But that only happens at the end of the turn, after the turn where the leadership was destroyed. Thank you. So, the leadership was destroyed last turn, so that means that at the end of this turn, at the end of turn 6, White 3 and the Donovians and the Atropians can roll to see if they can rally and take over in the chain of command, if a succession of command can occur successfully. We're better. Okay, so now, so that means that all of these movements now are going to be at the penalty of, I believe it's +3. Let me double check. But it's going to be movement that is unordered movement. So let's see here. Yeah. Independent movement. So once you've used up the orders for your movement orders for the phase, which are determined by a dice roll, if you have a headquarters element, and neither of them have headquarters elements right now, you may attempt to move groups independently. Any group that tries to move without a movement order is attempting to move on its own initiative. Any group qualified to move that has not yet moved in the phase may attempt independent movement. Doing so is allowed once only per group per phase, and requires a +3 die roll modifier. So, this is technically a group, so I'm only giving them each of them one movement per, as an unorganized roll, or as an independent roll. So, Red 4, let's see if you can move on your own initiative. He just has to pass a cohesion check. And that is a 13. Again, he's below the 18, so yes, Red 4 may move. So he's okay on this. Or that +3. Oh, hold on, actually. I forgot. I was just talking about the penalties, and I didn't even... Let's see. Yeah, a 13. He done rolled a 13. And that's a +3, so 16. It's still under. He's still under the modifier, so he's okay to move. Let me make sure there's nothing else on that. Thank you, Pams, for following. Spasiba, as the drunken Ukrainian Soviet wolf would say. He's more food drunk than drunk. Well, he's drinking a lot of wine in that little cartoon, so he might be just drunk. So, let's see here. Where was I? So, I don't believe... Yes, okay. So, he's not suppressed or disorganized, so it's just the +3 penalty to his movement. So, yes, so 13 +3, 16. It is below his cohesion, so he is able to move. Atropian Bradley is, yeah, because their cohesion is 18. He is able to move. So, let's see, where does he want to go? So, movement-wise, he is a tracked vehicle, and he has 16 squares of movement. He has 16 points of movement. Again, in Rough Terrain 1, it's 1 for 1. Rough Terrain 2, it becomes 2 squares, or it becomes 2 points for every 1 square, so it's halved. So, let's see here. Oh, where does he want to go? He just saw all of these people get just destroyed. What does he want to do? I think he's gonna... Man, I'm trying to... What does he want to do? Does he want to try to move up? Or does he want to try to swing around and get around this another way? Let's do that. he just saw all of these people and just saw rounds getting traded off, just off the front of this tank until he blew up. So I think, being the platoon leader, he's going to be smart enough to, like, I'm not going into this because everybody's died there, and I'm really, really exposed. So, I think he's going to attempt to go down this wadi, right here. We'll just call it a straight 3 squares. So that, because that is rough terrain 2, down that trail in the wadi, we're going to call that's 6 movement points. So he has 8 more movement points left. So 3 plus 8 is 11. So we can get up to 11 here. So let's see here. So right around here. So he's going to move to right here. So he's going to go down this wadi and move. He's going to see if he can come up around a different way, because everybody has died very quickly. In the past 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, he has just seen the platoon get wiped out and rounds being exchanged back and forth. So yeah, he's going to try to go around. He's going to try to find another way, because he's not stupid. He does not want to die. I think that's reasonable. So he's going to head down to here. We'll orient him this way, because he's traveling down this trail. Okay, that is his move. Now we've got Donovia's turn. Again, because there's no commanders, they have only 1 movement turn for this group, for the full platoon. And it's going to be at a penalty. So let's see, who do we want to move? I'm going to say White 4 is going to try to move. White 3 is already fired. He's observing that gunner's on the turret, just watching and scanning from mudflap to mudflap, just watching this area where Bradleys and tanks have been pouring out of. White 4 is going to attempt to move. So let's see if he can move. And again, he's going to have the +3 penalty. Yeah, excellent roll. There's been a lot of really great rolls. So 1 + 3 is 4. That is below the cohesion for the Donovian team, which is 17. So he is free to move. Whew, where does White 4 want to move? Let's see here. Again, trying not to metagame because I'm playing both sides. He does not know that this Bradley has moved down here. This is just so much smoke and everything and so much going on here. I think he's going to attempt to kind of move up and try to get a better angle. So I think he's going to try to get himself from behind White 3 and maybe up into here so that he can see further into the gap. So he's going to move. Let's get our little ruler here. He's going to move probably like 400 meters this way. This is rough terrain 1, so I'm going to count it as just 1 for 1. So he didn't even use up all of his movement. So he's going to move here to about right here, I think I said. Right around here. So he's going to move right here, and he has enough movement that I can make up whatever. And he's going to remain, he's going to reorient himself as well to ensure that he can see, yeah, he can see further down into this gap, because as far as he knows, this is where everything's coming from. Okay. So, movement phases the movement sequence has concluded, so let's go ahead and move on to the next sequence of play. So now we have the 3rd standard phase of fire, which is for tech level 5 vehicles only. None of these vehicles are tech level 5, so we move on. Marker removal phase. Now we get to see what happens. So, none of the units that are left on the board are suppressed or disorganized, so they don't need to rally. However, both units need to attempt to do a succession of command, because right now, none of them have commanders. And it has been exactly, the last turn is when the headquarters were taken out. So, let us see. Let's do for Atropia a d20. 15. Okay. Let's see if there's any special penalties. I don't believe there are any on this one, so let me just check. Yeah, lost headquarters. Yeah, at the beginning of the phase, following the one in which the headquarters, you may designate in writing that stand which is at the beginning of the phase. Well, that meant that this movement phase was all kind of messed up. So that's my bad. We're learning together. You have to designate at the beginning of the turn. So, again, so, okay, we're fine still. So, succession of command in the real army, after the platoon leader said, it goes to white 4. So white 4, and red 4 is the only one left. So, okay, those are the 2 designated units. That should have been done at the beginning of the turn. That's okay, because we actually have a succession of command. Man, those cats are going crazy behind me. Please don't jump on my back, guys, like you did when I was playing Metal Gear Solid, because that hurt.
We don't care about you, Papa.
I know you don't care. So, let's see here. So, if your force okay, so generation 1, 2, and 3 have penalties. The force cohesion level is, so for anything higher than a generation 3, if your force cohesion level is 15 or less, modify your die roll by an additional +2. So if you had really low combat cohesion to begin with, this is even harder to do. However, both of these units rolled really high on their cohesion, so they don't get that penalty. So they actually are just straight dice rolls. So 15 is below 18 for Atropia, so red 4 has successfully made the succession of command, which, you know, he's the only one left, so I would hope so. So he's probably just radioed up right now and been like, yeah, I'm taking over. I'm gonna try to see what I can do up here. Although at this point, really, that platoon might be pulled back because they just lost most of their vehicles. Anyways, on to Donovia's turn. Let's see if white 4 can successfully take command. Yeah. 2, an excellent roll. 2, there's no technology level or original cohesion level penalties, because they're all tech level 4, and they have high enough cohesion rolls to begin with, so it's a straight roll. 2, yes, white 4 takes command. So now, both units have commanders again. So now they will be able to make actual ordered movements, which, for red 4, doesn't really matter. He's only ordering himself. So, alright, let's go in. We are now into turn 7. Okay. Turn 7. Okay, let's go down the sequence again. So, again, sequence 1 is posture determination. Again, I don't know if you need to roll initiative each time, because it alternates back and forth anyways, and if you have the initiative, you can allow the other person to go first. So I think initiative at the very beginning of the game is fine. Okay, sequence 2, joint artillery phase. Players alternate artillery attacks and airstrikes. So, we do have one artillery strike that was called in the previous turn, and that was by Donovia here. Fire mission D002. So D002 right here is going to fire. So we're going to add our little firing effects. Too bad there's nothing really going on. Okay, so IDF. Oh, whoopsies. Whoopsies. Okay, bloop, 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 bloop. Cool, that looks great. Let me copy, paste. Copy, paste. There we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Let's do one more. Paste. Okay. And there we go. And we're just going to group all these guys together right here. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. So, those are firing. Actually, that's where it is intended to fire. But we need to see if it actually happens. So, I got a little ahead of myself. I forgot that there's dice rolls that have to do with that, have to actually, you know. Okay, I'm not quite sure what's going on anymore. Okay, hold on. So we'll just delete these ourselves. I will delete them myself. Okay, so for the fire mission, we need to determine if the fire mission actually happens. So we need to roll first the d20, a regular cohesion roll. 12, and because they're not on the board, they don't suffer suppressed or disorganized status, and they don't suffer range status because they're all still well within range. This board is small enough to for the effective range still. So, yes, the fire mission happens. They fire. The two S-19s begin to fire. Now we have to roll another d20 for deviation. Let's see here. Let me make sure I don't do this wrong. Okay. After a successful cohesion die roll has determined that an indirect fire mission will arrive, we did, you must determine whether the mission deviates. Okay, yep. So let's see, what did he roll? 5? Yep, he is fine. There is no issue right there. Yes. Yep, cool. Yep, we're good there. Yes, and during the cohesion, so there is a tendency for lower tech levels, they have penalties. As follows, so tech level 4. So tech level 4, which is what the 2S19 is, I believe. Let's just double check. So our 2S19, let's check Donovia's 2S19, tech level 4. Yep. So a tech level 4, because it is such an advanced fire system, it actually gets a bonus of -5 on its tendency to deviate, because it's such an advanced fire. Wow, brain fart. Because it is such a fine and advanced fire control system, -5, so it's actually 0. It zeroes out. So yeah, no, it did not deviate. The 2S19 hit exactly where it was aiming at. So we didn't need to deviate, and now we can go ahead and put up. We could have left our little fire markers, but that's okay. I just wanted to make sure I was doing things right, as you always should, you know. Okay, let's go ahead and doop. There we go. So the fire mission has started with the 2S19 AP, and it will last the duration of this turn for 3 minutes. So let's go ahead and move on to the next sequence, because Atropia did not have any fire missions. So sequence 3, first standard fire phase. Again, only tech level 4 and 5 vehicles can fire right now. Okay. Our tech level 4s are, because we don't have any tech level 5s, our tech level 4s are the T90 and the Bradleys. Neither of them can see each other in line of sight, so no one is going to be firing anything. So we skip to the next sequence, which is the standard fire phase, where all units are able to fire. Nobody still sees anybody. Nobody is in line of sight. No one is firing at anyone. So we move on to the next one. And actually, I can remove this guy's fired icon, because he has not fired this turn. Okay. Joint plot phase. So now we get to plot artillery if we want to. Red 4 cannot observe this, so he cannot call for fire. Even though he doesn't need a forward observer, they still need to actually be observing the targets, or at least where they're calling for fire, the location they're calling for fire at. He cannot see that. He is below it. He is below the elevation. And the 2 other vehicles on the Donovian side are not going to call for fire. They just called a fire mission, and they're waiting and watching now. So, we'll move on to the next phase, which is sequence 6, movement phase. So, now we get to move again, but this time they don't have penalties because they actually have their commands back. So, Red 4 for the Atropians. Let's see if he... So, let's see how many movement orders he gets, because we're doing movement orders again. So, for the movement orders, you roll 2d6 plus or minus command bonuses. So 2d6. Okay, so 4. So modified roll at 4. He has 1 order, but then we get modifiers for the generation. It is a generation 4 military, so he gets +2 more commands. So, or he gets +2 on his dice roll. So 4, 5, 6. It's still 1. And let's see if there's anything else that modifies it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And actually, you get a -2 bonus on your cohesion rolls for movement if you have the headquarters with you. So, I mean, geez, you might as well, like, what, -2 to all of this as well? So, like, it's just... Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. So, or, let's see here. So, okay. So, 4 + 2, 6. He still only has 1 command, 1 ordered movement. So, that is 1 move made with bonuses, because he has a headquarters. So, let's see if he moves or not. actually, for the sake of keeping this, and again showing how this works, we're going to continue the tracker just to make sure we're showing our work. So, movement order. Atropia has 1 movement order. Let's see how many movement orders Donovia will get. And we'll keep this cohesion roll 7. So we'll work with that right now. So let's roll for Donovia real fast to see how many orders they get. 5 plus 2 is 7. So 7 plus 2, because they're a Generation 4 army, 9. So they get 3 movement orders. So they're doing pretty well, which is good because they have more than one vehicle. So Donovia has 3 movement orders. Okay. So now that we know how many movement orders each person has, now we'll move. Red 4 rolled a 7 on his cohesion. And because he has a headquarters attached to him, he is the headquarters, that is -2 to that cohesion, so 5. Yeah, he's fine. He well below the threshold of 18. He's no issue, which you would hope if he's the only vehicle moving. So yeah, he can move again. So again, he has 16 movement points of tracked movement, so let's see where he wants to move. Let's see, where does he want to move? I think he's gonna... try to move... Let's see. Either this wadi right here, or he's gonna roll to, or he's gonna try to roll south. And again, because I'm metagaming this, I'm gonna leave it up to dice then. So we'll roll a d20. If it's 10 or below, he will go this northern half. If it's 11 to 20, he will go the southern round. So let's see here. 16. Okay, so he's going to take the southern round. Okay, so he's going to attempt to move. Let's see, he's still on rough terrain 1, so it's 1 for 1 movement. So he's going to go here, and he's going to move here. Okay, and this is the nice thing about Roll20 is it keeps all of this aligned, so I can actually see how many movement points he's using getting through this little pass right here. So he's going to move into here, and he's going to attempt to come up this wadi right here, but he's going to run out right here. So 16. He's going to use these 16 movement points to move right here. Okay. Okay, so he's going to move right here. And he's also going to be oriented facing this direction because he's moving up the wadi. Let me see, which wadi is he going to try to take up? I guess probably this one right here. Yeah, okay. Okay, so now we go on to Donovia. They have 3 movement orders. So, let's see here. We're going to roll for the first one. We're going to say for white 3. Well, let's see if he moves first. 18. Oh, 18 minus 2 because there's a headquarters, 16. So yes, he does get to move, but that was close because 18 is their actual threshold. So, let's see here. I'm going to say white 3 because he didn't move last time. He's going to continue... no, white 4 is going to continue moving up. White 4 is going to want to move. And he has how many? What is his tracked movement? Let's see here. He has 14 tracked movement. Okay. So, let's see. Let's see here. He's going to start moving up this way. 14, huh? So he's going to move up basically to white 1's dead vehicle, and he's going to try to orient himself here. Okay, because they're going to move through and they're going to try to clear now because it's been a couple of minutes, nothing's happened, the artillery's firing. Actually, how far away is this from here? Yeah, it's 1,000 meters. He's still not danger close, so he's okay. So yeah, so that's where he's going to move. He's going to attempt to move right around here. He's not going to use all of his movement points. Okay, so he's going to orient himself this way. It sounds like something out of like Shadow of the Empires or something. Okay. Okay, so Now that we've done that, red 4, so the Atropians don't have any more movement orders. However, they always do get their independent movement as well. So he's going to try to move, but again, he's going to take this at a penalty because it's being done on his own initiative. Okay. So +3 onto this, 14 plus 3, 17. It's still under 18. So he's going to make another move. So, he's going to attempt to move up this wadi now. So let's see here. So these, again, are rough terrain 2. So it's going to count as twice as many movement points. So, we're going to say right about here is when he enters this. So 2 squares. And then, let's see, how many squares does he take to get out of here? I'm going to say about to here. So he's going to take 3 squares to get there. But two squares from here, or pointing at the screen. So, from his initial movement to where I stopped it at 200 meters, that is 1 for 1. So it's 2 points of his 16. So he has 14 points left. However, the 3 points between there and where it says 500 meters, 5 squares, that counts as 6 points because it's doubled because it's rough terrain 2. So 6 plus 2, that's 8. He still has 8 points of movement from here. But you know what? He's not going to use it all. He's just going to crest up and see what's going on. Like, he's going to stop right here at the crest right here. That's 6 squares. He's going to stop right here. Okay. So let's move him. And he's going to go up through the wadi, and he's going to come out right here, and he's just going to be orienting himself outwards this way, because he just came out of the wadi. Okay. So, Donovia still has 2 more movement orders. They're not... no, they are going to use. White 4 is going to continue his advance up to see if there's any... Well, no, because there's artillery happening right now. No, they're going to hold. They're going to... He just moved to observe, but... Actually, to get himself better cover, because he feels a little open right now, he's going to try to move one more time. Yeah, 1, he moved. He's fine. He moved. It's a 1. Even with penalties, -2, that's a -1. Like, yeah, he moved. So, he's going to attempt to move himself just over here on the other side of White 1's burning vehicle. So, he's going to move right... Oh, shoot, that's the fire. I don't want to do that. I want it to move. There we go. White 4. We're going to put him right here, and he's going to orient himself this direction, because he's watching and just trying to observe. Like, he doesn't want to get too out of control. He doesn't want to get too close to this indirect fire either. Okay. Then that's going to end their movement. They don't really want to move anymore. So now we move from movement phase to the 3rd standard fire phase. But none of them are tech level 5. So they're going to actually, let's see here. I'm curious about something. Let's check the topographic map real fast. Let's see. Yeah, he's on high ground right now. Okay, so that's what I was curious about. When he crested this hill, I was curious if he would have been able to see White 4 moving from here. But the problem is, as you can see, he's on high terrain here, but then it goes back down. He's essentially getting on the top of a hill right now, which means that technically he can see all this, but it's at an elevated angle. So he's in a depression, so he can't see White 4 right now. He would start seeing him once he starts going down this hill. Then he can see all of this, because he's still higher, but he's angled down. Here, because I stopped him at the top of that wadi, because he didn't want to just come rushing out of the wadi, he's taking his chances, or he's being careful so that he doesn't take any fire. He stopped here, so yes, I don't think he was seen or saw anybody. So, you know, just always curious about that. And this is the thing that, like, oops, I almost forgot about this. So this way we can see our little rows, our compass rows here. Okay. So, now that marker removal. None of them have markers to remove, and nobody needs to make any rolls for succession of command. So we move on to the next turn. So we are on turn 8 now. Cool. And actually, let's just clean up a little bit here. White, who else is dead? White 2 or white 3? White 2's dead. Okay, white 2's also dead, so let's go ahead and make sure he's just... Yep, and then Atropia, the only one that's left is red 4. Okay. Because red 2 took a beating with all those rounds to the face. Okay. Whoops, didn't want to do that. Okay. So, now we are into turn 8. So, sequence 1, again, initiative. I'm going to keep the initiative order for this game. Joint artillery phase. This is where artillery either begins or ends. So, this fire mission is now complete. So we're going to go ahead and delete this. This fire mission is now complete. It is done firing. Nothing crazy happening. Okay. So, that fire mission is now over. Atropia did not call any fire missions, so there was no fire mission there. So, sequence 3. First standard fire phase for tech level 4s and 5s. So, nobody can still see anybody, because again, we just established that red 4 is at an upward angle, and he's not going to be able to see anybody until he essentially comes off of this slope right here, because he's still kind of angled up. He stopped because he just came out of a wadi and it opened up, but he doesn't want to just rush out and get hit. So, we're going to go ahead and nobody's going to be able to fire during that sequence. Then sequence 4, standard fire phase. Nobody can see anybody, no firing. 5, sequence 5, joint plot phase. Nobody's plotting artillery because nobody can still see anybody. So we're going to stop there. And then we're back to movement again. So let's see how many moves they each get. So 2d6 for red 4. Okay, that's an 8. Plus 2 because it's a generation 4 force. So 8 plus 10, so he gets 3 movement orders. Okay, so let's go ahead back to our tracker just to make sure we're okay. So Atropia has 3 moves this turn. Okay, good for him. Okay. And then we're going to go for Donovia. 2d6. 4 plus 2 for a generation 4 fighting force. So 4 plus 6, that's 1. They only get 1 turn. 1 order this turn. Okay, so Donovia gets 1 order. So the tables have turned. So Atropia gets to make his move. Let's see if he moves with his cohesion roll. 17. Okay. 17, but he is the commanding unit, so minus 2, 15. He is below the necessary cohesion sequence. So, let's see here. So he can move 16 movement. So, you know what? He's just going to come up to the top of this hill. Like, he just wants to be able to see. That's what he's going to do. No, he's not. Because that's not what somebody would do, is crest a hill. Not someone like Red 4. He's going to come around here, and he's going to stop on the other side of the hill and orient himself out this way, observing. So that is well within his movement. So we're going to basically just move him here. And actually, I want to see the topographic map for this, because that's what I'm saying that he's moving around. He is moving around this hill mass that he's on. Oh, nope. Okay. So, yeah, he's going to move around the hill mass here. Okay. Probably right around there, yeah. And he's going to orient himself out this way. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so he made that move. He's going to stop right there. Let's see, for movement for the Donovians. Now that this is seeded, the fire mission has finished, White 4 is going to push up to see if he can see anything in this area. So White 4 is going to make his d20 to see if he rolls, see if he moves. 15. -2 because they have a headquarters attached to them. He is the headquarters element now after the succession of command. So that is a 13. So it's well below the 17. So yes, he moves, and he has 14 points of tracked movement. So let's see here. Yeah, he's just gonna go ahead and just move up into here. He's just gonna kind of slowly crawl up here. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, and he's just gonna kind of... Yeah, he's gonna move up this way. Let's see here. Yeah, he's gonna move up in between these vehicles, basically. So, he made that move. So let's begin to... Before we begin movement, however, Red 4 is scanning. I want to see if he's within line of sight. If he's got line of sight on White 4. So, it's open here. And then here he's got the vehicle. But even if he moves beyond the vehicle, he can see him. So let's double check with the topographic map. Let's make sure. That he can see him. So let's measure. This is what I was curious about, exactly. Oh, there is a keyhole shot right here. So, right here, he's on the hill still. If it crosses this line, I'm going to say that the elevation rises and he can't see past this. However, right along this line, there is this little opening right here where he can see White 4 moving. So we're going to say he's going to try to take the shot. He's going to try to conduct an opportunity fire. Because he did not fire this turn. None of them fired this turn. So, let's go ahead and see what that opportunity fire looks like. So, for opportunity fire, Red 4 is firing on White 4 once he enters right here. So let's make our cohesion roll to see if he hits. Okay, 10. Okay, again, he's going to be firing with whatever is the appropriate value. He is going to be firing with a tow missile. So, with his tow missile, let's see here, that's Donovia, Atropia. He's going to be firing with a tow. The tow is an AP value of 24 and a range of 5,000 meters of 50 squares, which, trust me, this is well within 50 squares. It is all of... Yeah, it's not even a kilometer. So, he's going to be firing. So he's going to be firing into that. So it was a 10. So let's add... There's no S&D effects. ATGMs, there are effects. So there is no range limit, but there are ATGM effects on the tech level. So, let me just find that real fast. ATGMs. Let me see here. Yes. It is a tech level 4 missile, so a +1. So +1 onto his 10 is 11. Firing into rough terrain 1 is 12. It is a hit. So he hits White 4 as this happens. So White 4 is hit. So let's go ahead and check the differential. What did I say? A 24 on that? 24 on the armor piercing value versus a 9. That's a huge amount. We don't need to do the math. White 4 is dead. So, White 4 got to right about here. Whoops, not that. White 4 got right about to here and got hit by an ATGM and got hit by a tow missile. So, White 4 is down, and Red 4 has fired. Okay. Movement now. So, White 3, we still have our movement order. So, White 3 is... Actually, no, we don't have our headquarters anymore. So, those movement orders are invalid. So, let's see here. He's going to be making an independent move. So, a +3 onto this. Oh. Oh, actually, no, it wasn't his turn. This should have been for Red 4. 17, minus 2, 15. Red 4 can move if he wants. I think he's going to move up just a little bit, just to see what he can see. Because he's fired his ATGM, but he's still around that hill mass. So he's going to move up just like 100 meters. Okay, now it's White 3's turn to move. Let's see, because this is going to be a penalty roll. So 9 plus 3 is 12, but it's still under. So White 3, having just seen an ATGM go past, is going to reorient himself and move himself. He's basically just going to turn himself around to orient himself towards the threat. And I think I know where this is going to go. We'll see what happens, though. So, Red 4 still has one more movement order. He's going to start creeping up a little bit more. Let's see if he makes it. Yeah, 1. He moves. Minus 2, that's negative 1. However, as he starts to move forward, White 3 is going to take an opportunity fire. And let's just make sure this makes sense with the topographic map. Because how I'm seeing this in my head is essentially like this. That as White 4 began to move forward so that he can see further out this way, White 3 is going to fire on him once he has a clear line of sight. Which, yeah, it's right there. Like, that's a clear line of sight if I ever saw one. Like, it's going to be another keyhole shot, but he's going to hit him as he inches out. And even if he stopped right there, he's going to be able to hit him once he stops. So, he's going to take his opportunity fire. He's going to take his opportunity fire, and let's see if he hits. 12. Okay, so we have a 12. He's not suppressed. He's not disorganized, so there's no penalties. He's firing into rough terrain, so that's a +1, 13. He is firing a straight sable round, not an ATGM, so there is no tech level issue. There's no penalty there. Let's see if the range comes into play. I don't think it does. 570 meters. Let's see. I think that's well within normal range with no penalties. Oh, no, yeah, it is. It's absolutely fine. Okay. So, no effect. So, that roll succeeds under the 17 cohesion. So let's roll for damage now. So, first we have to see our combat differential. White 3 is shooting a 23 armor penetrating, and Red 4 has a D12 defense of 12. So that is, I can do math, that is an 11 difference. So again, according to the rules, this is an automatic destruction because it's an over +9 combat differential. But for the sake of this, we're going to also roll the D6s for the other half of it. D6s, 10 plus 1 into rough terrain, and no penalty on range, so 11. So 11 and 11. Okay, so we go vertically up 11. And we go across 11. And he destroys successfully Red 4. So, I believe this is now more or less concluded this match, because now, as you can see, everybody's dead but White 3. So, he's the last vehicle standing, and I'm going to call that a victory. He succeeded. So, let's check our victory conditions that I laid out in our tracker. Let's see here. 100% destruction. So, yep. So, Donovia has won this round of movement to contact in Siberian Ridge. White 3 is the lone survivor. Wow, that was definitely an interest. That was definitely fun. That was crazy with what was happening with the Abrams, of the Abrams just getting hit like 4 times and just refusing to take so much damage to die outright. But yeah, so thank you guys for joining me. That concludes this first practice round in 2 parts of GHQ's Modern Microarmor the game. Again, you can get this at GHQ. You can look them up online, GHQ Miniatures. Really great system, I think. I think it's very straightforward, and it's extremely flexible to allow all sorts of scenarios and situations and vehicles. And of course, the wonderful miniatures that go along with it. You get your catalog, and again, you can paint them to your heart's content. I saw some people on Instagram put antennas on them. I really want to know how they did it. I need to look that up and ask them. But these are great little miniatures. They make great gifts for officers, and if you want to play, they're really fun to paint, and, you know, it's fun. Thanks. So, yeah. Again, this module is brought to you by my book coming out, Blackhorses. Right now, there's a few issues of on the publishing side with Amazon, so I'll let you guys know when that's available in paperback. It should be hopefully soon. I'll let you guys know when the link is 100% up and working right now, because right now it's kind of wonky. It's up, but I don't know if it's working or not, because Amazon's having difficulties. But I'll let you guys know when it's available. Any of you 11th ACR vets, I'd really appreciate it if you guys took a look at the book, because it is directly inspired by my time there as a company grade officer, and all of the wonderful memories that I have there. I mean, I'm even repping an 11th ACR shirt right now. Definitely not coincidence. Wink, wink. But yeah, check it out when it's available. If you guys like tabletop wargaming, if you're just like anything that has to do with the military, you just love military memorabilia, or if you're just an 11th ACR, if you're just a Black Horse and you want something cool that's Black Horse related, please check it out, and I'll make sure I'll give you all the link. It'll be definitely on the Instagram, it'll be on the Facebook page that's back up, and I'll definitely link it once I have the link here with the Twitch videos as well, and on YouTube. So, thank you guys again. Have a good night. I'm hopefully gonna have two of my buddies helping me play a game where I'm not metagaming this and I'm just refereeing. But we'll see. We're trying to work out schedules still. Dark Jiggle. Sorry, Trula, you just missed it. I just finished this up. But, I want you just to take a look at this. Red Platoon was Atropia / Americans. Oh, you've been watching? Okay, good. Good. Okay. Yeah, White 3 is the only one that survived. His T90 got that Bradley at the very end, and of course, White 1 was the first one dead after whiffing an ATGM at the Abrams. So, you know, that I think is pretty realistic. That's on par. But anyways, again, lots of great memories from my time serving, and all of this is directly inspired by that. So if you guys want to take a look at it, yeah, White 1 always died. I always died first. Always. Well, at least it wasn't a 500-pound bomb. It was an Abrams, so it was at least a real fight. All right, everyone. Have a good night. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I might play some more Enlisted, or I think I'll actually make up Metal Gear Solid 3 because I got the emulator to work. I don't know what was going on Tuesday, so I'll see you guys tomorrow right around 9:30 p.m. Korean time. Stay safe out there. Have a good weekend, everybody. Peace, everyone. Nice to hear from you again, Sartarilla. Okay, bye, everyone.